Hello everyone. Mahatma Gandhi Vidya Mandir Sanchalit MHG Junior College Maligaon Camp. Myself Srimati Meshram Kavita. Today's your subject secretarial practice. Now let's see chapter number 3, issue of shares. So important points. Allotment of shares. What is allotment of shares? So allotment of shares means public company issue prospects to invite public to subscribe to the shares of the company. Public applicant applied to the company is response to this board of directors. Pass resolution for a taking decision to allot the shares. So allotments is the acceptance of the application and given share to the applicant. Distribution of shares among the application is called allotment of share. Sometimes the shares are allotted to specific person with whom the company has entered into an agreement for payment of consideration in the form of shares. Underwriting are paid a commission in the form of shares. So what do you mean by allotment of shares? So allotment is a response to the application. It is an official intimations given to the application about the number of shares allotted or given to him. It is not compulsory that every application would get allotment. The persons do not get allotment letter may get regret letters. Regret letters, you know what very well, I think. So is letters intimating the application that they have not been allotted any shares. The decision to give allotment letters is taken up by the board of directors, and that decision is implemented by the secretariat. The letter of allotment contain name and address of allots, numbers of shares applied for and numbers of shares allotted, the amount paid on application, etc. Effect of allotment. 1. A contractor relationship between shareholder and company comes into existence. For example, shareholders agrees to pay the face value of the shares and company gives him rights of a member. Next one. Already allotted shares cannot be re-allotted. And now next point. This point is the most important. A provision or conditions for allotment of shares. Every company issuing shares has to comply with the provisions of the Company Act, which is the Act now 2030. That's a current act, and overall your SP subject is depend on the Act 2013. Then Act 2030 with regard to allotment of shares, company has to follow a certain conditions where allotting shares to the applicants, which are statutory and general condition. There are two parts of now, statutory and general condition. Applicants which are a statutory and general conditions. So now let's see first statutory provisions. These are a provision laid down by the Companies Act 2013. So Company Act 2030 is a importance now. And first one, registrations of prospector. A company of prospect must be filed with the register of companies before allotment is made. If the company raises capital privately, it has a prepare and a file statement in lieu of prospect. Now second, application money. What do you mean by application money? Application money means application money is a part of face value. You know what very well, I think this word face value. This face value is also related to your goods, your marketing field. So shares which is collected by the company along with the application form, minimum 5% of nominal value of shares must be received as an application money. Well, calculation. The amount of premium and discount are not taken into consideration. Issued capital must be paid within 12 months from the date of issue. And now next, minimum subscription. So minimum subscription means company must raise a minimum subscription amount mentioned in the prospectus for getting and trading certificate and starting with the allotment of shares. If the company fails to get the minimum subscription amount within 30 days of closure of the issue, it has to refund and enter amount of application money within 8 days to the application. Next one, depositing application money. Depositing, you can use casually use this word in your daily routine life, I think. Application money received must be deposited in the scheduled bank in share application money account until the company get a trading certificate. The amount of application money also cannot be withdrawn. And next one, oversubscription. Oversubscription means SAB nominee has to be appointed to assist the allotment work when the issue is oversubscription. According to SEBI guideline, company has to refund excess applying money on oversubscription. If there is oversubscription, or the company is unable to collect the minimum subscription. And next, permission to deal in stock exchange. You know what, very well, I think there are two stock exchange: International Stock Exchange and Bombay Stock Exchange. So, according to Section 73 of the Companies Act, it is compulsory for every company to make application to one or more recognition stock exchange if the company intend to offer shares to the public for subscription. Application for permission and should be made within 10 days. Just 10 days from the date of issue of prospectus. If this permission is not given by a stock exchange within 10 weeks from the date of closing the subscription list and the allotment is made, it will be void. In this case, the company has to refunds and applications money within 8 days. Otherwise, the company is liable to pay a interest at rate 15% on the refund amount. Next one, opening of the subscription list. As per Companies Act Section 72 and SEBI guidelines, allotment can start after the 5th day of issue of prospectus or later days as may be specified in a prospectus. It a statement in lieu of a prospect. The allotment can be started of the prospect headers are taking the decisions to buy shares. Next one, closing of the subscription list. As per SEBI guidelines, the subscription list for public issue must be kept open for at least 3 working days and for not more than 10 days. It must be disclosed in the prospectus. In case of right issue, it shall not remain open for more than 60 days as per these guidelines of SEBI. Now next important point, general conditions. What do you mean by general conditions? So general conditions means these are also often referred to as general conditions and include a project management, staff and supply, temporary services and utilize safety and cleanup, among other items. Profit. So profit refers to the make up applied by the contractor or contraction managers to the total of 1. So let's see some point of general conditions. There are rules that a company must follow in additional to the provisions of the Company Act 2013. First one, proper authority. There must be a proper authority to make allotment of shares. Board of Directors has authority to allot the shares, the applicant and allotment. Committees which deals with the allotment of shares. And next, valid offer. There must be a valid offer. It must be in writing and should not be oral. So investors must apply for the shares of company in proper manners by filling the application form. And next one, valid acceptance. So investors make the offer by filling the application form and a company accepts it by allotting the shares, and there must be a resolution passed for valid acceptance which must be unconstitutional. Next one, allotment against application only. So allotments against application only means on oral request valid allotment cannot be made. There must be a written application for allotment of shares. Next one, communication. You know what communication skill? Yeah, communication. There should be proper written communication between the company and investor. Thus, communications develop between company and investors. When the information about the allotment is communicated to the applicant, they enter into a contract. And next one, reasonable time. The allotment must be made within reasonable time, otherwise the applicant has the option to accept it or not. Now next, unconditional and absolute. Unconditional and absolute. So allotment must be made on the terms started in the application, so it must be unconditional and absolute. Next important point, irregular allotment. If allotment is not made as per the provision of Companies Act, the allotment is termed as irregular allotment. When a copy of the prospectus is not filled with the registers of companies. And now next, when minimum subscription has not been received. Next most important point, share certificate. You know what share certificate? Yeah, what do you mean by share certificate? So, share certificate means allotting in entitled to get a share certificate certifying that he is the holder of the specified number. You know what, as a like your board exams certificates, so same thing, you can purchase shares, so you want share certificate. And now the specified numbers of shares in the company, it is issued in exchange of allotment letter. It is an evidence of title to shares issued by the company. Under it, canon scale, daily stamped and signed at list by two directors and counter signed by the secretary of the company. At term, the receipt. You know what receipt? So, the receipt of share certificate, the person will become the members of the company and can enjoy the rights of shareholder. So definition of share certificate as a registered a document issued by the company under its common sales. Means you can earn a common sales now. So this document, and which is document, your document is a shares and you have a share certificate. This share certificate is your property. Yeah, your parts of a security. Yeah, types of security. Yeah, sources of security. So now let's see contents of the share certificate. First one, name and address of the registered office of the company. Next one, serial number of the share certificate as well as the registered folio, page number folio. You know what very well, page number folio. I think you can't use this word in your ledger account. Yeah, accountancy subject. Next one, name and address of the shareholders. उस सर्टिफिकेट में क्या मेंशन किया जाता है कि शेयर होल्डर का नाम और उसका पता या एड्रेस. नेक्स्ट वन, नंबर ऑफ शेयर्स held and the types and class of shares held by the shareholder. Which is types of shareholder? या अगर उसने शेयर्स लिया है तो वो कौन से टाइप का है? सो यू नो व्हाट वेरी वेल, आई थिंक देयर आर मेनली टू type of shares, preference shares and equity shares. And you know what types of equity shares and preference shares. So this type. And next one, the face value of each shares and the amount paid on it. And next one, the distinctive numbers of shares which are included in this share certificate. Next, the authorized shares capital of the company. Next one, the date of issue of share certificate. Next one, sale of the company. And next, the significations of 2 directors and 1 authorized signature. And now important parts, duplicate share certificate. The share certificate is issued against the allotment letters. The name of shareholder should be entered in the register of members. If the company issues a duplicate certificate, it should be mentioned on the face of the certificate as duplicate. If the certificate issue why are you the duplicate certificate issued? So cancel या distribute